Hey there, it's Marley Major. Before we dig in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell because you definitely don't want to miss another glorious disaster here on Every Day's a Train Wreck. Because missing an episode, now that would be a train wreck. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Every Day's a Train Wreck. I'm your host, Marley Major, and back by popular demand, we have our wonderful chef, Aricia Alvarado from Alchemy Kitchen, and we are going to talk about all kinds of things, holiday related, entertaining related. Oh my gosh, you're overwhelmed. You haven't done anything related. What do we do? So please welcome Aricia to the show. Aricia, thanks for coming back.
Hi, Marley. Thanks so much for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so excited to talk about whatever we're going to talk about.
The
Holiday.
usual, I know. The holiday stuff. Exactly. Okay, well, first of all, you're a chef. You're married to a chef. I mean, you certainly if anybody can entertain, it's you, right? So do you get overwhelmed? And is there a difference between entertaining for yourself or your friends versus entertaining for like when you're paid to do it?
That's a really good question. I treat it the same. I especially right now I started a supper club back in the summer, and I did that with that concept in mind. My house was always busy with people, personal things, personal parties. Oh, let's go. And so I thought, I'm just going to do this and open it up, to outsiders. And the stress is the same. I have to admit, if anything, I think the stress is higher when it's at my house or it's my personal thing, because then my expectations are through the roof. With
Right.
clients, obviously depends on how intricate the party
Right.
is. But
Right.
it doesn't matter how many years I've done this, it's always that extra little, like, butterflies before the guests
Yeah.
arrive, and making sure that you have everything in place and all the candles are lit and you have all of that. But I just wanna emphasize that you have to have fun. You have to remember why you're doing what you're doing. No matter how tired you are, no matter how you might feel like, "Oh my god, this happened and that happened and this isn't perfect." It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, people walk in and they're happy to be taken care of. That feeling that you give your guests of, "Look, you are my you're in my hands. I am opening my heart, my home,
Right.
or whatever space," that's what people remember. So all the details, it's probably just in your head.
I'm a big one for, okay, that's great, but how do we fix it? Right. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, right? We do
Yeah.
the same, like, because maybe because it's like a doctor too, right? I mean, nothing like comparing party planners to doctors, but where it's like, all the things that can go wrong, right? So as far as a party goes, okay, so I'm sure I'm going to
Yeah.
get so much hate mail for that. So let's just keep it in context. But you have the butterflies in your stomach, but they're getting to the point where you're stressing out too much, or the oven is not as hot as it should be and you forgot to check and you're kicking yourself. And then I don't know about you, but then I start going down that spiral, right? Like as soon as oh my gosh, I knew I should have checked that oven myself. I knew I shouldn't have blah, 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 blah. And then all the next thing it's half an hour before everybody gets there. And by the time you open the door, you're like practically in tears. So how do you unwind that kind of natural zone that a lot of us get in?
Take a breath and take a deep breath.
Right.
Just, and one step at a time. What do guests need
Right.
when they walk in the door? They need a cocktail. They,
Right.
they need a something to nibble on. They need to put their coat somewhere. They need to put their bag. They need to use the restroom. And
Right.
then that just, you kind of send people off and things just end up working out naturally. And
Yeah.
people will find their space. And, you know, the one thing that I have to say saves me from anything, from the oven nightmares, from anything spilling or going wrong, music. You've got to have music going.
Oh, yes. Yes. 100%. Totally. And
So,
so, yes, I agree. I think the music has to be going I mean, even if it's going to be half an hour, going half an hour before anybody's going to arrive, just so that you don't even have one person approach where the music isn't on. And I think the biggest buzzkill is when the host or hostess is clearly agitated. And hot meat kettle, I have done this where like somebody in my family or somebody around is, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then the guests get there and they're all excited for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I'm like, and you're just like, oh. So I think we have to play the game of fake it till you make it, to a certain extent, because I mean, 95% of what you and I see, no one will ever notice, right?
Yep.
Even if it is about an oven thing, like even if it is about if you had to scrap the boeuf bourguignon or whatever that you worked on all day, you got to scrap it. But you can make do and people aren't even going to know, that was your plan. But I do think the most important thing is just to act as if you are just white hot. And then would you agree to just plan as absolutely much as you can ahead of time? Like that is the secret that I have learned such the hard way, which
Yeah.
is whether I'm entertaining for myself or even for a client. If it's for a client and, we don't have to, let's say the job is on a Friday and it's on a Monday. I mean, I'm not going to pack the truck, right? On a Monday. But
Right.
one of the things that does help me is just to go over my written list again and again and just be like, okay, have we pulled this? Have we pulled the bev naps, the entree naps? Have we double checked the count? Who's going to work it? Do they have the uniform descriptions? Do we have parking info? Have we double checked this contract? Have we double checked this deposit? But
Yeah.
having that written list, and sometimes I find, I don't know if you do this, but sometimes I will even have obviously for work, I have the typed lists of everything, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'll even like be rewriting them. And I'm like, you already have this written down. What is the point? But there seems to be some kind of at least like gaining control aspect if you write things down again. Like how do you guys handle
I
it?
do that too. There seems to be a feeling of calm for me when I'm able to transfer the thoughts from my head
Mm-hmm.
onto paper. And not
Right.
necessarily computer, written paper, but like actually
Right.
handwriting it. Somehow that transfer of energy from one place to the
Yes.
other in my body just seems to be like, okay. And then I do I'm one of those people with the marker big
Yes.
black across. Done, 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 done. And that helps me, and in my mind, I'm like I give myself a timer. I'm like, "Okay, 5
Yeah.
minutes to do this, 10 minutes to do that," and that's how I go along, especially, like, in that last hour before the guests arrive,
Right.
and,
Right.
and I'm checking off and there's still things to finish. I give myself
Mm-hmm.
5, timers or whatever. Thank God technology really helps.
Oh,
You
yes.
can talk to your Siri or whatever, be like, "Give me a 5-minute timer. Okay, give me a 10-minute this," and that way you stay on
Yes.
track, and then hopefully by the time your guests arrive, you're not like you're powdered and you're like in your clothes and in your heels and open the
Right.
doors, you're all smiles. So
Right. Right. And so when you say give yourself a time, so you're not just saying like, or maybe you are, like I'll have it, typed up or
yeah,
even written out, like 6 o'clock, light candles, 6:15, make sure XYZ is done. But you're actually saying like you will say to yourself, you have a total of 5 minutes you got to get the table set. So you got 5 minutes
yeah.
or 10 minutes,
Or
whatever
an
it is.
hour. Like I'll give myself
Yeah.
that kind of time. Like, okay, flowers need to be done. And it starts like that. But like the last hour, how that feeling of crunch, like, oh, we've got
Yes.
this and that to do, especially us, because we get crazy and like I just want
Yes.
to
Yes.
do
Yes.
I wanna make, like, a
Yes.
movie production out of it, so that's what I do in the last, like, the, like, last hour is usually when I find myself running around, and thank God, after all these years of doing it, and then after, like, the supper club, this last one that we did, we were actually early. I thought, "Oh,
Which is when we're early, like a job you and I just did not very long ago, and we were early with everything. I was literally like I mean, it's a 9-day installation and strike. And I kept saying like, oh God, please do not have this be some kind of like bad jinxing joke. on me. Um, that, because it's like you're suspicious when you're early. But I think one of the things that I've noticed just listening to you talk, and this is why I love talking to you, we just got together last week, supposedly for fun, and then, end up having this whole business discussion, which was amazing. But is you're talking to somebody who's been at it for so long, right? And I think it's really important to tell our listeners that so much of this is practice.
Yeah.
And so you cannot just go from never entertaining to having the giant dinner party and having it go off flawlessly. It's not going to happen. It doesn't go off flawlessly for us. I mean, we've been at it for literally for decades.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean you have to wait for decades, but it does mean that you have to practice, right? And so I think even that means sometimes, you have a few girlfriends over and you practice like what Aricia and I are talking about right now, which is like, okay, you got 5 minutes to do this, or you've got, and then the other thing that my little tip and trick that I started doing was I started and I don't know why I didn't do this before, but it's like in your own house or your own apartment or whatever, wherever you entertain, it's like, the drill with yourself. Right. And so I'm big on these like index cards, these like 4x6 index cards. And I kind of write like, I'll call them evergreen things that I need to do. Like, and what I mean by that is, you always have to vacuum one more time. You've always got to, wipe down the counters one more time. You've always got to double check that there's, toilet paper in the restroom and the hand towels are out and all those things. So I kind of have those like evergreen things that absolutely have to get done, so that if somebody gets there earlier, one of my friends says, hey, what can I do to help? I can just point them to the evergreen sheet. But then now what I've started to do is I've started to take literally those evergreen sheets, if they are evergreen, like they happen for every party, not like take the chicken out of the oven at 7. That's going to be on a different list. Yeah. But the evergreen stuff I started keeping and then building on, because it has been magic, because I realized that so many times, I don't know what my problem is. This doesn't happen for work events, but it does happen for my own events. I will forget to chill the wine. And I mean, and maybe because like I can fly by the seat of my pants, so I know the tips and tricks, to get it chilled fast, right? Yeah. But like, you put it in the freezer, you wrap it in the wet paper towel and then put it in the freezer. But I've also had plenty of exploding bottles of, champagne or beer in there. That's because, of my dumb, like, oh my gosh. But I do think that is such a stupid thing. But I really stress when I know, oh my gosh, that wine has only been in there for 30 minutes and somebody's at the front door, and I'm like, and then I feel like I want to start babbling and just saying, like, this is a new trend. This wine is supposed to be served at, and it's just ridiculous, right? It's so stupid. It's like wine can be in the refrigerator for 4 hours. That's not going to kill it, right? But for some reason, I just act as if like it's candles being lit. Like the bottles should go in at the last possible minute, which is so lame. Like, what are the things that you kind of do over and over again that you're like, why do I do that? Like, how have I not learned? Is there anything? You have the face on you. Like, everybody's got to watch on YouTube now, because you have the face on you where you're kind of like, no, there's not a thing.
Well, like, no, I have to say that I do this, and everyone, like my staff, just is like, we got this. I'm like, did you polish? Did you polish? Did you polish? To me, it's like the polishing of the wine, of the silverware, the napkins. And then I procrastinate when it comes to like setting the centerpiece. For some reason, I feel like I only need like 30 minutes to do it.
Now, when you say setting it, do you mean like putting it on or you mean actually like are you crafting the centerpiece at that point?
No. But like, because, if I do an outdoor event, especially, then I'm like, I just need a couple of hours before the guests arrive so that we can set it, so that, no bird poop falls or anything.
Bugs and yeah.
Oh God. And then I just find myself in this like, wait, no, this isn't the vision I had. And then I start and I start second guessing myself. So that's something I do often. And I put it, and I put it back and I put it again, and I take it out, and I fuss with the flower, or I move the
Yeah.
candle and I move the angle, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is not a picture set. It doesn't matter. Leave
Right.
it." And that's when I have to tell myself, "Stop. Walk away. Let it be. It's
Right.
perfect. It's beautiful." And everybody else is like,
Right.
the staff is like, "Oh my God, it's beautiful." And I'm like, "No, that's not what I had in mind." And
You're like, I hate it.
I
Yeah, I hate it. I hate you. Like what? Like, yeah, no, I know. I mean, but you just gave me an idea talking about, I think so many things can be just accomplished just by listening to things like this and then just kind of chatting with your friends or whatever. Because as you're saying this, I know I do that too. And I certainly do it with like buffets or stations or, a lot of times because kind of our secret sauce is like all this crazy levels of 3D decor and stuff that aren't
yeah,
just flowers. And so one of the things that we have started to do. The same thing like if we do a TV segment, because if we do a TV segment, right, we're going to have 3 or 4 minutes, let's say on live TV or something,
Ooh.
and we're going to
Mm.
have the table that's going to be 6 feet long, blah, blah. I mean,
Yeah.
we know the drill, but
Yeah.
it's exactly the same kind of thing of what you're saying. But this is one thing that we do for TV stuff, and I think we could apply it here, is we will block out this, let's say the 6 foot TV table at the office many days before, assuming we have many days before. So we'll get all the heights right. And we'll
Yeah.
get the like, we need a riser. It needs to be clear. Oh, that you're not going to be able to see the centerpiece. Or like sometimes with TV stuff, it can't be too high because then, the shot is all messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was thinking with your and my, and then the other benefit to that is that you can take a photo. Now, it's not perfectly set, right? It's not like if we're serving meatballs on air, I'm going to put the meatballs in 5 days before. But I mean, I'll put the platter and then
Yes.
that will make me think, oh, I don't have the serving thing. Or, oh, wait a second. We said this was going to be fall decor. We don't have any fall decor, or the colors are pink or whatever. And
Yeah.
but the added thing is by kind of blocking it out. And then the secret sauce is to take a photo of it and print it out if you're going to have somebody help you, or even if you're going to do it yourself, so you don't have to think. And
Yes.
then they can block it out, right? And then we can do the tweaking. So even like like the tables that we're talking about, right? Your
Yeah.
long supper club table. And I know
Yeah.
what you mean. Some of the things I think we procrastinate, obviously not my wine situation. That's just absolutely lame and no excuse. But I mean, there's really is no excuse. But sometimes I'm thinking it's the fun stuff, kind of the futzing, and that you've been spending all day or 2 days, whatever, cooking or working on something, and sometimes you just want to have fun with those details.
Yeah.
But we could use the same concept, right? Like, so let's say it's your supper club. You could block it all out, right? Where you put the linens down, and then you put like set one centerpiece, exactly how you want it. Put your flowers there, knowing you're going to take it apart, right? But at least you can be like, oh, that's good. Take the photo, and then the team can recreate it. So then all you have to do is do the finishing touches. The other thing that I've started to do is I'll set if it's outside, right?
Yeah.
Set the tables and the place settings, like the flat stuff, like if there's chargers or forks and knives stuff. Do everything but the glass, like anything that stands up, and then put a tarp over it. Like a painter's tarp or even like a sheet. Because so much of that blasted polishing that you're talking about is the freaking flatware. Depending on how many courses, there's a lot of stuff to polish. And so if the glassware is polished in the kitchen and you just throw a tarp over something, you're way ahead of the game. But I cannot tell you the trick of literally staging it and then printing it out. And we do that for everything. The other thing we started doing was when we'd be in a client's house, we would take a photo of their kitchen because you're in there and you're moving stuff around, and I mean, oh my god, you know how it goes. So we started taking a photo right ahead so that we can put everything back.
Sure, yeah.
Because like I don't think of that often, because at the very end of the night, I'm not the last person to leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the client the next day is like, hi, my mixer was over there. And that, and it's just kind of annoying.
No,
Like,
it's annoying.
people,
Absolutely.
when your stuff isn't back in the right place.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
photos are everything. What do you
That's
think
brilliant.
about so what about people who are okay, we're taping this beginning of December. We stop a lot. I mean, in our worlds, we have a lot of time. We could do stuff. Um, but if people are feeling overwhelmed, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. I should have people over. People always have me over. I feel guilty. I haven't done anything. What are some of the easiest things?
I'd say that if you're gonna have a large crowd, I'm a big proponent of big mass cocktails. Making it ahead of time, having it in the refrigerator, or
Meaning getting them drunk or
no,
pre-batching
making
them. Oh
pre-batching the
God.
cocktails, or you know what I really love, especially around this time of year, I really love holiday punch and bringing out the
Yeah.
punch bowls like in the 1950s, the way our
Thank you
grandmothers
very
used
much
to.
with the punch bowls.
Oh my god, I
Yes.
love that, and also
Yes.
the any beverage that you infuse, either, it's a citrus peel or some sort of
Yep.
bark or herb, it's always gonna taste better once it's been infused for a few days. It's never the
Yes.
same. If you do it that day or you do it a few hours, it's not the same. So it's always my first thing. My go-to is I do my cocktail first a few days ahead of time. I pre-batch, I leave it in the fridge. And I know, people battle with refrigeration space. Spirits don't spoil. So unless you
I
add
thought you were going to say they battle with drinking it before the
no
party. That's what I would battle with. Forget
the
the
refrigeration,
refrigeration tank.
don't
I'd
drink
have a
it.
Yeti. I'd have a Yeti in my kitchen before I bad worried about refrigeration to yeah. What are some of those cocktails that you're mixing up? Because I think that's a great idea. Well, one of the ways to cut costs, I always say, is don't have the full complete bar. Have
No.
a signature cocktail, or like you're
Yes.
saying, the signature cocktail can be your punch. But like, give us some ideas that are not, like, oh, you've got to raise your rosemary from 3 years ago. I mean,
No.
what are some
No,
easy things people can do?
usually the spirits for me during this holiday seasons are, a vodka base. Everybody loves tequila, but my
Yeah,
whiskey, I love a whiskey-based cocktail during the holidays,
yeah,
especially with lemon
yeah,
peel, some cherry liqueur of some sort, and you don't need anything else. And
yeah,
maybe a couple of like the day before, like a couple of hours before you sweeten it, but it's already been infused. It's sitting
yeah,
there with all the essences are kind of brewing behind the scenes, and you can just leave it on
yeah,
the counter and you're done. The other thing I love to do is in the easiest for me is just to put our
yeah,
charcuterie and cheese board together
yeah.
and just kind of give it height, and because that's an artistic piece and you can just make that your
Yes,
centerpiece like on a coffee table, and all you have to do is bam, pull it out. You can
yeah.
make it in pieces, meaning like a puzzle, right? You're gonna have a big like
Oh,
vessel,
that's genius. Now
right? And
that
so
okay, now you get okay, so pause. You
yeah,
guys, this is like a super secret trick because you're right. Because I'm always thinking of like, I love charcuterie boards, and there's a great book out there called like Platters and something that is absolutely gorgeous about how you can have a brunch one or something else.
yeah,
But this is so smart because A, it helps with the refrigeration. B, if you build it in sections like a
yeah,
puzzle,
yeah,
and you kind of put them together, you don't have to have this giant board that
right,
you're working on.
yeah,
And you can
exactly,
do your, all of like your nuts and your honey and your honeycomb and
yeah.
all that stuff, and have your cheeses and stuff on a totally separate
Yeah. So
platter.
what I've been
That's
doing
genius.
lately too is I love doing butter sculptures, and
Oh, excuse
that
me. Well,
because it's
okay. That's something I just
so
jump right. What the hell are you
this
talking
is
about?
like a so you let your butter become room temperature, and then you salt it or herb it or whatever, and then you just like put some gloves on and you play with it like clay, and then you put it in the fridge so that it's this beautiful element of art that you just pull out, or the towers of grapes and fruit to go with it.
Yeah.
You can do that
Yeah.
if with the styrofoam ball or a cone or something
Yeah.
like that. That's something else that you can do ahead of time that will add an element of height and art to the centerpiece, to your charcuterie board. So that's some that those are the little
I
tricks
love
I use.
I love that we're talking about how to, if you're already overwhelmed, you
No,
haven't
but this is
planned anything
ahead.
for
This
the
is
holiday,
before.
and then you say, please whip out, become your inner Picasso and whip out. your damn butter sculpture. I mean, the thought of me whipping out a butter sculpture, I first of all, it would have fingerprints in it or punch prints, like where I punch something. Second, I would have to say, I'm so sorry. Like the grandchildren that I don't have were the ones that made this because I can only I mean, I have so much to say about this, but I do think you are onto something and you're correct with a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And I do believe 100% in a focal point of something. But you also gave me another idea, which is what a great idea to make your butter pats, right? Put them in the silicone tray, like the trays you use to make chocolate,
Yeah.
like to make chocolate candies. And so
Mhm.
that the butter, looks like you pop it out and it looks like a rose petal or it looks like
Yeah.
I think those are really great hacks.
Those are great. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Go back to the sugar grapes for me are one of those things that, Mamma Mia. I think probably 50,000 years ago I saw it on Martha Stewart, and it is just not that easy to do the sugar grapes. I mean, what is it? It's like a egg white wash. Is that what you? I mean, if you want them to be edible, sort of, it's egg white
Yeah.
wash and then
Yeah.
like super fine sugar.
Yep. Yeah.
But you got to make sure they stay but it's the super fine sugar for sure. And you've got to make sure they stay cold.
Yeah, they have to stay cold. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I mean, you can do it with any fruit though. I don't mean specifically sugar grapes. I mean like any kind of, either strawberries or even tangerines and lemons to add to add some color and dimension to
Yeah.
any, particular part that's going to be edible. Wherever, even if in the middle of
Like,
your bar you put a beautiful bowl of lemons, but they don't have to just
yeah.
be, sprawled out. They could be in a cone
Yeah.
shape and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But I mean, that's the thing, is that you have to have fun with it. If you're a
Yes.
host that doesn't enjoy it, I mean, you're not going to do any of these details and it's going to be
No.
stressful.
Okay.
So the point is
Totally.
that you need to learn to enjoy and remember that why you're doing what you're doing. You're doing it
Right.
to bring people together, you're doing it to create memories, you're doing it so that
Yeah.
we have a different memory. We are not looking at our phones, that we're not at a restaurant
Right.
where it's noisy and we're being kicked out. You're at your home. You want to make
Right.
people feel the most comfortable, the most loved in your
Right.
space. So you really are, I mean, you can't forget that. No matter how stressed you are, no matter how many things you have to get together, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, the guests are going to walk away with that memory or those pictures that you had. And then, that's the point of entertainment or
And
entertaining.
and what do you think what do you think is the biggest mistake people who either don't entertain frequently or are new to it? What's the biggest mistake they make?
I would say that they are thinking too much about what they like, and they restrict the menu. And
Mm,
they're like, "No, I don't eat fish, so I don't think I will ever have fish."
right.
Or
Good
they
point.
under
Good
order.
point.
They under order.
Yeah.
A lot of people just think, "Oh, well, it's just one bite." They don't consider that, somebody might be really hungry, or that one piece of, steak might be too small, or,
Right.
I think that people,
Right.
yeah, they need to consider, they have to broaden their horizon on what they eat or
Right.
what they think guests will like. And they
Right.
have to have, it's better to always have more food than not enough.
100%. The other thing too, I think people make a big mistake with is, and maybe I'm going back to my own situation, is ice. I mean, ice is just, and by the way, ice is a pain in the neck if you are running low. It really is. Cause it sounds like, oh, you can just get your ice delivered. Well, you can. We've got DoorDash, we've got all these other things, but it is a pain in the neck. And
Yeah.
one thing that I see people do all the time, and it just totally freaks me out, is you cannot use like the ice that you chill your beer and all that stuff in, or wine. You cannot then use that in somebody's glass. It's like,
Right.
people do it all the freaking time. I'm like, oh my goodness, you cannot do that. But you can chill your beverages, as they say, if you chill them in the fridge ahead of time, unlike me. But then if you have to bring them down, you can also chill them in a bath of like water plus ice,
Yeah.
because that
Water
brings
and
the temperature. way down. But the biggest thing is, especially if you're short on ice, you better do the water ice situation to chill the beverages
Yep.
and reserve that extra ice,
Mhm.
because so many times, and like we have a bar fridge that is just, it's kind of literally, it's like off in the bar with bar fridge stuff, and we have regular ice in the kitchen, which is what we normally use. But if you're entertaining, we will go to that ice machine. And something I'd love to tell you is, make sure, if you haven't used that ice machine in a while, you take out all that ice and you run a clean batch. Otherwise, that ice is going to funk up all those fabulous beverages of yours.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Right? Because it's been
Mhm.
sitting there. It's like almost like freezer burn for a while. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was
yeah.
Mark Wahlberg or something I saw, and he was like, oh, he does the ice bath every morning at like
Mm.
2:30 or something, and he's talking about how he does it, and even if he's in a hotel room, and he uses all these bags of ice from the ice machine down the thing. And I thought, oh, maybe I could do that with my bad ice. Take a
Yeah.
bath and get like my anti-inflammatory stuff. Like maybe once a week, I could just be like, I'm going to take all my bad ice in my house, and I'm going to, I don't know. I don't know
Use
that
it
I
in
have
your
that.
ice.
Yeah, right? Use it in my ice bath. That just sounds so horrendous. But I think, so another one. Okay. We've got to make sure we check our ovens. To me, I think it's always important to focus on one thing. Like, don't try to, you know, cook the most amazing fish and harvest your own basil and make your own pesto, and it's just gonna be too much. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah, true,
Pun
very
intended.
true, yeah. Prioritize, a main dish, whatever that may be. It might, if it's a side dish, or prioritize, or the entree.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah,
think it's really, especially if you're first time doing something like this, or you don't do it often.
yeah,
I say outsource as much as you can, focus on what you love.
yes, yeah.
Mhm.
That's a great point. And always hire somebody to clean up. I don't
Yeah.
even care if it's your wayward 16-year-old. Somebody's got to help you, because at the end of the night,
Yeah,
that's a
because
buzz.
afterwards you wanna collapse. You
Yes,
you want
exactly.
somebody to serve you.
Yes, yes. Now, all right. Before we wrap it up, let's say that it's crunch time. What's the easiest kind of party you can throw together?
Um,
I have an answer to this if you can't think of a one that
yeah,
you
I
love.
think for me, like, as I said, it's throwing a big platter of all kinds of crackers and cheese, and, open up a
Mhm.
couple of bottles of wine, dim the lights, and put on some good music, and that's the easiest part. For me, nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
complicated, it's just come on over. When I ask people to bring things too, that's uncomfortable, because then me
Mhm.
being me, I want to transfer
Yeah.
it onto something pretty, and that becomes
Right.
complicated. So I just tell people, just don't bring anything. If you want, bring a bottle of wine and that's it. Or bring a,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
spirit,
Yeah.
and we'll make something with it.
Yeah.
But that's,
Right.
no
Right.
fuss, really, like on a day where I don't want to fuss. All I
Yeah.
do is just
Yeah.
go into the fridge, pull out, little like snacks, and we call it a day.
Well, I'm going to say that, and maybe it's going to go back to my chilled beverages and ice conversation, but I'm going to say the easiest thing, if you really stuck, is to throw together a brunch, because
Oh
you
yeah.
can go to Costco if you need to and get like, or the market, and get, pretty decent like frozen quiche or something like that, that nobody will know the difference with. Right. And you can have a couple of those things heating up. It's pretty easy to get some, like decent pastries or just scones, or even if you just get like scones and you get quiche and all that stuff from the market, and then you do one of your whipped butter castles, or even if you just, make like add some strawberries or something to your butter
Sure.
and make it look sort of fancy. And then guess what? You can have like a Bloody Mary bar if you want, easy. And I guess to me, the reason I like brunch is because the expectations are low. And I
Mm.
always feel like people are going to have somewhere else they've got to go. So it's always going to be like they're going to pop in, hang out, and then they're going to have to go Christmas shopping, or they're going to have to
True.
go,
Yeah.
do something. So
Yeah.
I think, so you've gotten two versions for us. Now, when you guys were talking about, or when you were talking about your spirits, I just want to toss
Mm.
in my one I think should be on the top of everybody's hostess gift list. And I'm big on hostess gifts, but not bringing in flowers. You have to bring them in a
Yeah.
vase. That's like my
Absolutely.
big pet
Yeah.
peeve. But
Yes.
etiquette wise, but I am a giant one and you need a few days for this, but you take a lovely bottle of vodka with a wide enough top and you put in the double bubble gum and let it marinate in the vodka. And then you have sipping quality bubblegum flavored vodka.
Oh, that is genius.
There are few things on the planet I am going to say that make me happier than bubblegum flavored vodka. Now, the amount of sugar involved in this, when I say sipping quality, I mean you are going to have a couple sips and that is going to be it. But don't forget, you can do this with, those cinnamon bears. You can do them with all kinds of fun stuff because vodka will pick up the flavor kind of anything. Sure. So have fun with that. But then actually, see, I make it and I love it, but just be prepared that then all the pink dye goes into the vodka itself. So when you feel like it's ready, you might want to decant it because then you're going to have this like white glob of all the gum that is no longer pink, but it is just delightful. So shout out to the people at Double Bubble. If you'd like a spokesperson, I would love to assist. So Miss Aricia, anything else on holiday entertaining you want to throw in for us?
Scent. You've got to have like something beautiful.
Oh,
candle,
right.
some sort of incense, something that makes
100%.
your house smell fabulous. That makes you feel luxurious. Yeah.
And quite frankly, even if you just do the fake thing of like, the apple juice with cloves and cinnamon that you're not even planning on serving, right? Yeah. You just have that on the stove.
Yeah.
Or,
that's,
or you just saute onions and garlic again, you have no intention of serving. Or turn the fireplace on if you've got one, or just burn the sage ahead of time. So it's kind of cleaning and clearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, I'm glad when you were saying scent, I was thinking like scent Evite, scent paperless post. And you're like, no, SCENT.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Miss Aricia, this was great. Aricia from Alchemy Kitchen. How can people find you?
alchemykitchen.com or Aricia on Instagram. It's alchemy_kitchen_.
Love it. Okay. Well,
thanks for having me.
You guys, you're welcome. Well, happy entertaining, everybody, for the rest of It's Hard to Believe. We've got 1 month left. My goodness.
left.
2025, as far as I'm concerned, can take itself and kick it in the rump. I thought I was over 2024. 2025, I'm like, bye-bye. Okay. So, all right, you guys. And yeah, and Mercury's in retrograde as we're taping this on its way out. So, okay. So goodbye to that too. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Aricia, for being on the show. This is Marley Major, your host. And if you want to find us on Instagram, you can go to @thepartygoddess. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, please subscribe to the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Watch us on YouTube. Tell a friend. Like, comment. We would be super, super grateful. So that's it. And we will see you next week. Happy entertaining. Don't forget about that bubblegum vodka.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao, everybody. Bye-bye.